news tonight. Cameroon and the world observe World Tourism Day today, and the Ministry of Tourism is urging every Cameroonian to contribute to the development and promotion of tourist attractions in the country. Ex-combatants and ex-secessionist fighters who have dropped their arms and are now enjoying a normal life are praising the creation of the Committee for the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration after the major national dialogue. And to reduce the exportation of timber and importation of wood already processed, many more Cameroonians are getting involved in the wood processing business in the country. That will be in this newscast. Good evening and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Benin Bumagana in Yaoundé.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
Coming to you live from Studio 5 of the Crtv Production Center. Cameroon joined the international community this September 27 to observe World Tourism Day amid the COVID-19 pandemic that has paralyzed hotel and restaurant businesses in the country. Tourism Minister Bello Buba Maigari has called on all and sundry to contribute to the development and promotion of the tourism sector. Ewane Pole reports.
The celebration of the 41st edition of World Tourism Day in Cameroon under the theme Tourism and Rural Development was presided over in Yaoundé by the Minister of State, Minister of Tourism and Leisure.
Developing tourism without thinking of how to make the rural population take advantage of this development is a nonsense.
The Minister underlined that the COVID-19 pandemic has paralyzed hotel and restaurant business as well as the visit to touristic sites in the country. On the occasion, a new book titled Profession, Hôtellerie en Zone CEMAC, Éléments d'éthique et déontologie, written by Annie-Laurence Sikale, was presented to the public. The book highlights the potentials of the tourism sector, which contributes more than 5% to the country's GDP, thereby chipping its own quarter in the march towards economic emergence.
Cameroon, which has been described as Africa in miniature, is not only rich in its cultural diversity, it also hosts many tourist attractions. From the splendid scenery of the Central Highlands, Boyankong Samba, through to the northwest, and from the colonial relics through the beautiful traditional buildings in the west to the Sahelian regions, Cameroon's story and Cameroon's tourist destination should be made known. Cynthia Saptala.
Often regarded as a melting pot, Cameroon sits at the crossroads of West and Central Africa. For this reason, it has one of the most diversified cultures of the continent, over 250 ethnic groups and more than 200 different languages. Cameroon's Grassfield region also offers the possibility of discovering diverse chiefdoms, traditions, works of arts, dances, ancient museums, as well as breathtaking landscapes. Topmost things to see in Cameroon is the Benue National Park up north with over 300 bird species, lions and critically endangered black rhinoceros. The Waza National Park protects elephants, hyenas and many other animals. There is also nature's future in the form of the Ekomkam Falls in the jungles of Konsamba. With its diverse ecological and geographical endowments, the tourism sector is yet to contribute as it should to the development of the country.
The Director General of Elections Cameroon has channeled files of candidates for the regional council elections to the Electoral Board of Elecam within the time previewed by the Electoral Code. The files were moved to the Electoral Board during the second session as of right of the Electoral Board in Yaoundé. That was today. Ibneza Kanga gives us an update on what will happen next.
According to the Electoral Code, the Director General of Elections has 5 days after the deadline for the submission of candidacy files in view of the regional council elections to channel the files to the Electoral Board of Elecam. After the September 22nd deadline, therefore, this Sunday, September 27, is the latest date for the Director General to channel the files to the Electoral Board. And the files were channeled during the second session as of right of the Electoral Board of Elecam that held in Yaoundé this Sunday. The session will scrutinize and validate candidacies in view of the elections. Presiding over the session, the chairman of the Electoral Board of Elecam exhorted the members to ensure strict respect of the Electoral Code.
A resolve to do the right thing, a resolve to carry on the mission of developing our democracy, a resolve to make a significant contribution to the efforts of peace and conciliation for social cohesion in our country. We have demonstrated it under other circumstances, we can do it again.
The Electoral Board of Elecam has up to October 7, 2020 to publish the final lists of candidates qualified to run for the regional council elections.
The Northwest Coordinator of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center, Sixtus Gabsa, has disclosed that since the launch of the military operation codenamed Bamenda Clean, over 20 separatist fighters in the city have dropped their arms and are lodged at the center. Sixtus Gabsa says the military operation, coupled with the holding of the major national dialogue last year, have resulted in rising numbers of repentant insurgents at the DDR center in Bamenda. Kilo Valerie Sala reports.
A group of ex-separatist fighters learning how to produce soap while others are also acquiring computer skills. There are 137 of them here.
We have already reintegrated some 32 ex-fighters who are currently working with a parapublic company in the country. And the reports that we get from the field is that they are doing very well.
The ex-combatants who have also been learning skills in poultry and pig farming have found a new lease of life and many here can dream again.
Now I'm feeling more as a human being. We have the basics of computer studies. We are learning how to keep rare animals like piggery and poultry.
Yeah, just from the lab push, one guy was teaching us how to produce savon, omo, all those type of things, of which is good for a lady. I think it can even help you in future.
Some here who have competencies in building and construction as well as carpentry have constructed and roofed this dormitory with a capacity of 70 beds.
Still talking about the work of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Committee, the center, which has existed for about 2 years now in the southwest region, has trained several ex-secessionist fighters in different trades and many of them have already been integrated in the society. Charles Abuno tells us more.
The first set of 36 trainees at the Southwest Regional DDR Center are now continuing their reintegration into the society and are in different regions of the country. A growing number of ex-separatists have been admitted at the Southwest Regional DDR Center in the past few months and are being supervised and trained on a variety of income-generating activities.
As at now, we have initiated training in information and communications technology. We are about starting the barbing workshop, which will go operational in the days ahead.
The government of Cameroon is still inviting as many separatists as possible to come to the Southwest Regional DDR Center, as it is an instrument to enhance peace and make Cameroonians be exemplary citizens and participate in nation building.
Over in the far north region, some ex-Boko Haram fighters who recently surrendered to the multinational Joint Task Force in the region have been engaged in profitable activities at the disarmament camp that is situated in Mali. These ex-combatants have saluted the creation of the National Committee for Demobilization, Disarmament and Reintegration created by the head of state as a fallout of the major national dialogue. Ayub Jonashu reports.
The latest laying down of arms by 106 ex-Boko Haram fighters and associates has swollen the number of those who have responded to the clarion call for voluntary capitulation. A good number of them are now at the Demobilization, Disarmament and Reintegration Center at Meri near Marwa, trying their hands at more profitable ventures.
We've seen with delegate of Minadera and Minepia how to accompany those ex-Boko Haram.
Some are still at the transit center at Mora, pending their transfer to Meri, while the 96 Nigerians would be moved to their native Borno state. Officials of the Multinational Joint Task Force have saluted the creation of the DDR Commission by President Paul Biya as a fallout of the major national dialogue.
Our job in the Multinational Joint Task Force is to create that condition that will encourage the Boko Haram members surrender to us.
The administration of the Far North region has been reassuring government's resolve to fully reintegrate the penitent into society.
Countries of the Congo Basin have taken a unanimous decision to prohibit the exportation of timber by January 1, 2022. The decision was taken during a video conference of ministers of forestry, industries and environment of the Central African sub-region under the chairmanship of Cameroon's Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Jules Doren Dongo. Ewane Pole reports.
It was on September 18, 2020 that Ministers of Forests, Industries and Environment of the Central African region finally validated a decision prohibiting countries of the Congo Basin from exporting raw timber starting from January 1, 2022.
For 2018, what we sent out was approximately 850,000 cubic meters of logs. So the challenge here is to make sure that we are able to fully transform what we produce and that we don't send out raw timber. Because as soon as we continue sending out raw timber, the value addition will be done outside of the country.
To support the measure, the ministries have decided that special economic zones will be created for primary, secondary and tertiary wood processing industries. A regional committee for the sustainable industrialization of the timber sector in the Congo Basin, as well as the regulation on the development of forest plantation, are also expected to be put in place to ensure the effective implementation of the decision prohibiting the exportation of raw timber.
Now let's take you to a wood processing unit situated at the premises of the Benedictine Monastery in Febe neighborhood here in Yaoundé. Here, the wood from Cameroon's forest is exploited and items manufactured are supplied in the local market. Beatrice Ngum visited the factory and brought back this report.
Pitched on the hills of the Febe mountain in Yaoundé is this wood processing factory. The noise from its machines echoes. The calmness of the hill inspires the workers of this wood park with some 50 varieties of dry wood pending processing.
Here we are in the exposition hall where when we finish, we pack some clients come and see what they desire and give us their command. Our wood here that we use is natural one, and here to do something like this, we have to treat the wood in case the wood is wet. When the wood becomes dry, in order not to deform itself.
In this transformation unit are some youths being trained on wood processing by the 30 professionals of the factory. They produce chairs, doors, beds, cupboards, and lots more. Modern equipment made in Cameroon and with Cameroonian wood to promote local consumption.
I would advise our brothers to base their mind on our wood. It's not everything that comes from abroad that is the best. Why here we have the super best.
Local expertise celebrated with the technicians assuring that the quality of wood used is guaranteed and that the local processing industry is offering more and more job opportunities.
We wish them the best. Authorities of most nursery and primary schools across Yaoundé have resolved to provide protective face masks to learners at the beginning of the new school year. They are also assuring parents and guardians that other sanitary measures prescribed by the government will be respected. Romeo Kenya reports.
They are anxious about going to school this school year, a period jeopardized by the COVID-19 pandemic. In this kindergarten, authorities assure all sanitary measures have been taken. Face masks are not forgotten for the little ones.
For nursery, because their ages will not permit them to actually use the face mask because it can suffocate them, the sterilizer there is going to serve as their own face mask.
In this other institution, the wearing of face mask will be obligatory. This is stipulated on registration forms. Elsewhere, the little ones will be treated in a special manner. Their face masks have been provided by school officials.
We know that those children are very difficult to control, and there are people who will be following up to take care of the wearing of the mask, that they should always have it on.
In all kindergartens visited, sanitary dispositions have been taken to keep the kids safe from COVID-19. Parents have thus been reassured.
The Minister of Decentralization and Local Government, George Elanga Obam, has visited earmarked sites in Bolova, likely to host the Pioneer South Regional Council. During the walking visit last Friday, the decentralization bus toured 4 structures and at the end held an in-camera meeting at the South Governor's office. Clarence Aze reports.
Upon arrival in Bolova at about midday Friday, Minister George Elanga Obam went straight to the project side of the regional agency of FECOM at the New Bell neighborhood. Here, he was told that construction works on the building, which is one of the structures earmarked to host the Pioneer Regional Council of the South, will reach completion in 2 months' time. He proceeded to the premises of Radio Oyenga, a local private radio station beside the Bolova Food Market, and then another building at the Corvus Commercial Center. He rounded off the tour at the regional office of the Cameroon Housing Loan Fund, Credit Foncier, where he also inspected the building. After the tour, Minister George Elanga Obam held an in-camera working session at the South Governor's office. No information filtered from the meeting, and the minister made no statement at the end of his visit. One thing is certain, that the building to host the Pioneer Regional Council of the South region will be known in the weeks to or after the December 6th regional election.
The National Gendarmerie has stepped up its road safety campaign to ensure that no avoidable accident claims any life on the highway as the countdown narrows to the reopening of the 2020-2021 school year. Kilian Difon followed the Operation Alpha team to the Yaoundé-Douala Road and now reports.
Accidents are isolated incidents on Cameroonian highways compared to the pre-2011 situation when the road safety campaign was launched with the National Gendarmerie at the reinforcing front. Though delinquency involves even men in uniform, Yaoundé-Douala access this weekend. We have the case of a commissioner of police who was caught disrespecting speed limits. We followed and brought him back. We have taken his statement and sent it up to the competent courts. To all road users, especially at this back-to-school period, the advice is simple. Vigilance is the watchword because we are at the back-to-school period. We punish, but we also sensitize. The National Gendarmerie is also watching out against the spread of COVID-19. The respect of the anti-COVID-19 measures and the highway code are both a stitch that sails nine.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
A Let's pause a while to talk about our fight against COVID-19. And in a tour of the regions tonight, we make a stop over at the Adamawa region, where public health experts are yet to detect any case of COVID-19 in localities like Banyo and Bankim. Now let's join BrigadeAntiSardinard, the Public Health Emergency Center, who engages his guest, Dr. Yao Alhaji Zakari, Regional Delegate of Public Health, in a video chat on the fight against the pandemic in the Adamawa region. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Benin Bumagana, and welcome. After the North region yesterday, today our tour of the regions takes us to the Adamawa region of the country to see at what level health officials in that part of the country have been strategizing to limit the spread of the coronavirus in the Adamawa region of Cameroon. And our guest tonight is Dr. Yao Alhaji Zakari, who is the Regional Delegate of Public Health in the Adamawa region. Mr. Regional Delegate, good evening.
Good evening.
As of the September 16 this year, we have had over 14 new cases of persons tested positive for COVID-19. Can you give us an update of the epidemiological situation in that part of the country so far?
Thank you very much to give me an opportunity to say something about COVID-19 in Adamawa region. In a reminder of the current epidemiological situation in the region, we recorded presently 396 positive cases, 218 recovery, and unfortunately 19 deaths.
And finally, Mr. Regional Delegate, we have noticed that the towns of Bankim and Banyo have not yet noticed any COVID-19 person tested positive in the Adamawa region. What accounts for that? We will start by recalling that Bankim and Banyo district health have been in epidemic for more than 3 weeks now, specifically on August 30th, 2020 for Bankim district health and the 1st September on 2020 for Banyo district health, following the tracking, testing and treat strategy implemented in these two districts. We recorded 3 sporadic cases out of 3,060 people tested for the Banyo district health. And also we recorded 3 cases out of 3,094 people tested from Bankim district for a positivity rate of 0.09. All these cases have received treatment and are progressively favorably. Thank you so much, Mr. Regional Delegate Dr. Yao Alhaji Zakari, Regional Delegate of Public Health for the Adamawa, for being our guest this Sunday evening. Benin Bumagana. Next weekend, we end the second phase of our tour to the different regions with the southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
And thank you very, very much, Baldwin Sama from Kamer. 55 pupils in primary and secondary schools in Gwe subdivision of the Senegal Maritime have received awards for academic excellence. The benefactor is the CPD member of the National Assembly, Honorable Ngo Marinette, who also donated anti-COVID-19 materials to the BrigadeAntiSardinard Hospital. Esther Kmer has the details.
Eager to see their children hit the roads to school, but worried about the limited financial resources from their families, the parents are heartened by the scholarship award. Honorable Ngo Marinette, whose mandate pitches on human investments, orbits the 55 best pupils in Gwe subdivision. Didactic material and cash in hand, the laureates are elated, and the administrative plus school authorities are in awe.
It is the first time that an honorable member of parliament is coming to give a scholarship to little kids.
We are really happy and we want to thank her.
As they delight over the anti-COVID-19 material offered, the personnel of the BrigadeAntiSardinard Hospital also get their share of personal protective equipment to keep the virus in check.
This is the third time she is coming in our hospital to make a gift.
Honorable Ngo Marinette is aware that to run over the health and financial challenge in her constituency, teamwork is fundamental.
The mortal remains of the late senior divisional officer from Fundi, Jean-Claude Chila, have been laid to rest in Obwa in the Mefu and Afamba division. He was posthumously decorated as Grand Cordon of the Cameroon Order of Merit by the governor of the Central Region, Nasiri Paul Bea, personal representative of the head of state. Ebune Kane followed the funeral ceremony. This is her report.
Members of government, administrative, religious and traditional authorities across sections of the population, as well as family members and friends, came out in their numbers to bid farewell to the SDO of Mfundi, Jean-Claude Nchila, who died on the 12th of August 2020.
He was a patriot. He was a fighter for the Republic.
The fallen statesman was also described as a visionary leader.
We have lost a great man who was a promoter of development.
During the funeral mass co-celebrated by the Metropolitan Archbishop for Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga, and the Bishop of Ebolova, His Lordship Alain Philippe Barga, the mourners were enjoined to serve humanity. The 64-year-old seasoned civil administrator and traditional ruler of Oboa was posthumously decorated as Grand Cordon of the Cameroon Order of Merit by the governor of the Central Region, Nasser Repobia, personal representative of the head of state. The ceremony was preceded by funeral rites typical of the customs and traditions of the Beti people.
The patriarchs, call them the Zomlo, of the Mefu-Anakono division have invoked the ancestors to end the coronavirus attack in the country as schools are set to resume. During a ritual in Gumu today, the custodians of the Fangbeti tradition, the Zomlo, were happy to inform the people that the ancestors have received the libation. Emanuela Vemnui tells us more.
From the Ngumu forest, they emerge after spending an hour invoking the ancestors to chase away COVID-19 into the abyss. The patriarchs Zomlo of the Mefu-Anakono division are playing their role as custodians of tradition to ensure a hitch-free start of the school year.
Pray our ancestors, invoke them to help us to combat many difficulties Cameroon have now, so that this cause will start with that problem.
Into the shrine for more rituals, the close to 50 Zomlo through incantations and music that suits the spirit. Say killings, accidents and pandemics in the school milieu are over.
Our ancestors can deceive us.
They thus retire after the rituals in the Fangbeti tradition, convinced that their requests have been granted.
A new football club in the Nyong and Seoul division in the Central region has been created with the ambitious objective to play in the League One Football Championship 4 years from now. Green Sports is headed by former Tonnerre player Celestin Eyebe. The club unveiled its plan in the first ever General Assembly today in Yaoundé. As we hear in this report by Daniel Ekonde.
He played in the country's top-flight football during his career. Now he's running his own club.
Create my club to bring another fashion to see football in Cameroon, because in abroad it's different. So I want to bring the new style of football in my club.
Green Sports saw the light of the day last October and are participating in the Nyong and Seoul 3rd Divisional League with 26 players.
My club is structured based in Fcfa village. We have our CH there, we have one stadium there, and now we are making our gym place.
Eyebe also played football in Egypt and Turkey, and he says he's working on partnerships with managers and clubs out of Cameroon to get a better vision for the newborn. The club say they will form a female selection next year.
Thank you very much for watching the 7:30 news. Atabadino will be here at 8:30 for the news. Tomorrow, you are going to meet Esther Kmer and Romeo Chise. From us here, it is good night and thanks for watching the 7:30 news.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing